Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm just checking to see if I'm live on YouTube. And I'm letting people come into the room. Let's see. I believe that I am. I believe that I am. Okay, I am. Yesterday's technological snafu did not stop me. It only made me stronger. And I learned so much. So thank you for everyone who is here in the Zoom room. There might be more people coming in. Thank you for everyone who is watching this on YouTube. I fulfilled my promise and I'm streaming this there, but I can't see the chat on YouTube. So feel free to use it amongst yourselves, but I can only see the chat in the Zoom. So I'm actually going to just put this link for Zoom. Well, maybe not. No, sorry. I was going to. I'm going to keep things as it is. It's working. I'm not going to mess it up. It's all perfect. Okay. Welcome to day 2 of our 5-day challenge. This is when it starts to get really, really good. And the reason I say this is because it's one thing to clarify what you really want, and that is so important. And feel free, those of you who are here in Zoom with me, if you would like to put your camera on, no pressure, but would be great to see your faces if you would like. Again, no pressure. It's one thing to clarify what you want, and some of you have already started doing that with the homework and the process that I got us started with yesterday. But it's another thing entirely to be able to manifest this in our physical lives. And this is why we're here, to understand the mechanics of this, to understand ourselves more deeply, and to understand how we function in the grand scheme of things so that we can function optimally. Because remember yesterday, I said, and I meant it, and it's true, that we are perfect. We have perfection encoded in every single proton of every atom of every cell of our being. The essence of who we are is absolutely perfect because we are not separate from the divine. However, you personally relate to that. And I'm assuming most of you do. If you don't, that's okay too. But for the most part, most people have some sort of relationship to what you might call source, or you might call divine, or you could call the universe, or you could call God, whatever you call it. Even science has finally admitted that they have come down to analyzing what everything is made of, and they couldn't go past a certain point without saying, okay, we call this the God molecule. Look it up. They've gotten to a point where they have found something that does not come from anything else and is the basic substance of everything. It's self-generating, and it is uh, the absolute expression of perfection. Perfect. There's perfect order and harmony in this universe. It might not appear that way where we're standing in our own lives, and if you look at the state of the world, you might say, well, where's the perfection then? Right? And that's why we're here today. We're here to talk about what it is that keeps this perfection from expressing itself in what we call our physical reality, which, by the way, We just call it that. We need a word for something that we can touch and feel and smell and taste and hear with our physical senses. But it has also been proven by science that nothing is actually solid. What we call physical is not physical in the way that we relate with it. I'm holding this cup and I can touch it and it has weight, right? But when it's analyzed, it is simply energy, particles, all vibrating. It's not solid at all. So we're living in a world of illusions. Things that appear to be are not truly as they are. And yet, this is a dimension we live in, and we're here to discover what keeps the perfection that we are and the perfection that life itself is from expressing itself in this dimension. That's what we're actually here to do. Remember yesterday I said we are manifesting 24/7, 365. And in fact, that word manifestation, those three letters are intrinsically part of the word human, woman, for a reason, because we are the intersection. We are, each of us, that point through which the divine energy, which is the only actual reality, comes into form so the vertical plane meets the horizontal plane. We're right there where they meet. That's us. And that's actually a big deal. It's like we walk around feeling like, oh yeah, I'm Sarah Joy Fishkin and I'm this and I'm that and I have this story and that story, and we have this whole identification with this story of who we feel ourselves to be. But the truth of what we are, if you take a look at it, is outstanding. We stand at the crossroads of the vertical and horizontal plane. And what is coming through on this vertical plane is expressing itself through us each individually into this horizontal field we call physical. That's a big deal. So it's really important to become knowledgeable and understand how to be the best vessel we possibly can be. Because it's not just our own lives that are riding on this. I mean, it is, because we are the only creative operant in our own personal field, but we're in a collective field as well. And people, the world is like throbbing, It's like there's a big need right now for an upgrade on the planet. And people are trying to upgrade it through making all sorts of external changes. But what actually needs to upgrade is the understanding of who we are and our consciousness in order for a real upgrade to occur. So I just want to add that extra piece of weight for you in case your own life doesn't have value enough. And I hope that it does. But if you don't have enough oomph behind your why to learn this material, I encourage you to put some extra thought into how important it is for this world to upgrade. And then that gives you a little extra oomph behind doing this work. Because each person that does this is part of changing the entire fabric of our world. And they've done studies on it. It doesn't even take that many people. I forget the exact number, 9,000 or so. I'm not going to go there right now, but compared to the total number of people on the planet, it doesn't take that many people to shift the consciousness. So we're doing really important work today. And today I'm giving you some really, really, really essential and important information. And then over the next few days, I'm going to support you to go deeper with it and apply it. Because again, what good is the information if we don't apply it, right? But we have to start somewhere. We have to at least first get the lay of the land and start to have understanding and then apply it. So remember I said we're using this basic formula, and the formula comes from the Bible, which I did not study growing up. I did not grow up religious. I grew up in a very non-religious Jewish family, but so I didn't study the New Testament at all. That was just totally foreign to me. But there is this state, the Bible is actually an instruction that teaches us how to work with our own minds to produce our desired results. And it's all encoded in all the stories and the parables and everything, but that's what it is. And there is I think it's in Mark. It says there's a passage that says, whatsoever you ask for when you pray, believe that you have received it and you shall have it. Whatsoever you ask for when you pray, believe that you have. That word is important. You have received it. And you shall, that word is important, have it. Now, on first glance, it's like, well, that seems contradictory. Why would you ask for something that you already have? And if you already believe you've received it, have you received it? And then you shall have it. Like, it used to not make sense to me until I really got into this material. And now it makes perfect sense. So yesterday we focused on the first part, ask. And everything I guide you through in the workbook is getting you to clarify, what am I asking for? What order am I placing into the universe, into the field? What am I asking for? And the more clarity you have around that, the better. But I'll tell you, I did that for years. I know I said yesterday that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. That's how I thought about myself. But yet I had all these journals, and I certainly had plenty that I wrote in them about what I wanted. But that's as far as it went. In fact, everything that was manifesting was seemingly quite the opposite of what I was writing about. So what was I missing? I had the ask part. Well, that's what we're going to get into today. I did not have the belief part. So remember yesterday, I said there are two parts. There's desire and expectation. So we're going to get into that today. But first, I want to just tell you that I have really good news and I have really bad news for you today. And I think I'll get the bad news over with first because it's always better, right? Just to get it out of the way. So the bad news is here that every single thing, without exception, that you are experiencing in your life, whether it's good, whether it's really hard, whether it's, terrible according to your assessment of it, has its true cause within yourself, within your own consciousness. There is absolutely nothing and no one outside of you to blame for your results, for your circumstances, for your experiences, no matter what it looks like. And you might say, well, that person did this to me. Yes, I'm not denying that. I've had, my husband left me for another woman. Did he do that to me? Did it happen to me through him? Yes. Was the cause of that experience being generated by what was running under the surface in my own consciousness? 100%. And I will tell you my story in a little while. So that's the bad news. It's like there's no one to blame. There's no thing or no person to put the responsibility on. This is like radical responsibility. Okay, so that's the bad news. What's the good news? The good news is that everything that you are experiencing in your life is coming from within you. There's no one to blame. There's no thing to blame. The good news and the bad news are exactly the same. And it actually is really, 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 really good news. Because it might feel temporarily, like it might feel temporarily good to be able to put the blame on something else or someone else and say, well, this happened to me because of this and they did that and all those things that happened in my childhood that made me do this and all that. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have this. That might temporarily feel good because it removes this sense of blame. But I'm not here to talk about blame. There's no blame. No one, you've never, you, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not about blaming yourself. It's actually about taking, when you take full responsibility and you claim the ultimate creative cause as within your own self, that gives you ultimate freedom. Because no longer are you putting your power in something or someone outside of you. So even though you might get temporary relief from doing that, like for your ego, you're relinquishing your power. But when you recognize that there's a creative cause within me and everything happening in my life is a result of that cause, wow. Then it's like, okay, well, show me what the cause is. Show me how to create with this, and let's get to business. Let's get to work here. It's very exciting. It took me a little while. I had to go through some like I was attached to my story. I was attached to my suffering. I was attached to blaming it all on other people, on my upbringing, on all sorts of things. But ultimately, it gave me the most freedom and empowerment to fully claim it so I could just get to work on changing it because that's the only thing we have control over is our own consciousness. And today we're going to shine a light on that. And it's very exciting. So this universe that we're living in, this energetic field that we dwell in, that we call our physical reality and everything beyond it that we call non-physical, is all governed precisely by certain universal laws that apply to everyone and everything at all times, and they are unchanging. They're universal. They're infallible. And the more you understand these laws and you understand your own mind, the more things are going to start to go click, 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 and you're going to be like, oh, I see. Oh my gosh, I see why this has been happening to me for so long. I see why I've been stuck in this place for so long. I see. And now I see how to change it. So we're going to talk about a few laws today. And primarily, we're also going to talk about your marvelous mind. Because remember, we're at that intersection. Our consciousness, our mind is the mold through which the substance of the universe is being fashioned in the form that we give it. And this truly, what I'm sharing with you today, truly is the missing piece. It was the missing piece for me. And I guarantee if you've been struggling for a while, if you've been stuck for a while, if you have been studying this material, if you've been studying the law of attraction and manifestation and you read spiritual books and you do all that stuff and yet things haven't been changing, this is the missing piece for you. And I'll sum it up before I get started in the detail of it, with one sentence that my first mentor, Bob Proctor, shared with me when I first encountered this work. When I first encountered this material, I was in a really hard place. I was really felt like, just like I said yesterday, frustration doesn't even touch it. I was in such a hard place that if I didn't have my 3 children, I might have just decided, you know what? I don't need to do this physical thing. I believe in myself fully as an eternal being. I always had a sense of my eternal aspect since I was very young. And I was not and am not afraid of what we call death. But I'll tell you, I was really struggling with what we call life. I did not know how to do this thing, pay bills and, you know, manage a family and let alone find work I loved and juggle it all. And like, what is this whole thing? It was all, I couldn't get it. And I was really struggling because I just couldn't make sense of why it seemed to be so much easier for other people. And why these things I was writing about were not actually manifesting. And I thought, maybe they just never will. And that was one of the most depressing things I could think of. It's like, well, then what's the point of being alive? Other than being a mother, which I was dedicated to and am dedicated to, and uh, is a honorable and precious job to have. But I was really at my wit's end, and I reluctantly went to a 3 day similar to this class that Bob Proctor's Institute was hosting. A friend of mine had signed up for it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, another thing, Sarah. Like as if another thing's gonna do it for you. You've done so many things. That's where I was at. But I'll tell you, I think it really was day one where he said something that opened it all up for me. And that was really it. Here I am teaching this now because of what he said during that class. And here's what he said to me. I'll never forget it. And it's what I say to you too. And it opened up everything. He said, the part of you that knows, that has all the information, is not the part of you that is in charge of your results. And I was like, wait, what did you say? Because I thought, if I just take that one more class, maybe if I just do that one more retreat, maybe if I just read that one more book, something's going to change. But here he is saying to me that the part of me that knew, that had all the information, that had collected all this knowledge, was not the part of me that was producing my physical experience. I was like, whoa, okay, that explains a lot. So, what on earth is it then that is in charge of my physical experience? And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So, let's briefly talk about a couple laws and then we'll dive in. There are basically, at the most, I don't want to overwhelm you because there are a handful of universal laws. And they are just like gravity. Gravity is a universal law here on Earth. It's not universal in the whole universe, but it's universal on Earth. You can't go anywhere on Earth where you won't find gravity. It applies to everyone and everything in the same way in all places at once. And there are other laws operating that we weren't taught about in school. I think I'm going to at some point work on changing that on a curriculum level because it's like, wow, we were really kept in the dark. There are other laws operating that are really important to understand, that are influencing and playing, like controlling everything at all times for us. And I'm only going to focus on a few in these 5 days, but I want to just introduce them briefly today. And then we're going to really get into my friend, the stick person, and I'm going to introduce that in a minute. And that's going to be really helpful for you. So the few laws I want to talk about through the next few days and today is the law of cause and effect, which Emerson said is the law of laws. The law of attraction, which gets a lot of publicity these days and has a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of, I don't know, funny stuff around it, but it is an incredibly important law. And the law of vibration. Those are the three main laws we're going to focus on in this challenge. And the reason I'm bringing them up right now is because as you start to understand them and you apply them to what I'm going to share with you today, and then you think about your own life, this is all going to start to click for you. So the law of cause and effect basically states for every action, for every cause, there is an equal and opposite reaction or effect. Equal and opposite meaning it's equal, meaning it's exactly like itself, and opposite means back at you. So the cause in your life is always invisible. Everything you experience physically is an effect. Everything. So in your bank account, for example, that is an effect. The amount of money in your bank account is an effect. What is the cause of the money in your bank account? You might say, well, my job. No. That money comes through your job, but it's not the cause. The cause is always invisible, and your job is not invisible. The cause is in your own consciousness. But here is where what Bob told me starts to come into play. Because here's a great example. For years, I would think in my intellect, I would think, I really want to earn more money. I really need to earn more money. I was a struggling single divorced mom of 3 children. I really needed and wanted to earn more money. That is, all right, here, I'll bring in the stick person. Why not? This is where that was operating. So this circle represents your mind, okay? And I'm going to show you some detailed diagrams of this, either today or tomorrow. This circle right here represents your mind. It's divided into 2 parts. And this is all in your workbook too. The top part of this circle is your conscious mind, what we call your conscious mind. This is your intellect. This is what Bob was referring to as the part of you that knows, the part of you that's gathered all the information, the part of you that understands is all here. This is where school focuses on. This is where all the courses focus. This is where all the books focus. This is where a lot of this information today is landing. I'm hoping some of it's going to land in here, your heart. But for now, it might be mostly just going into your intellect. And that's okay. It's important. So here, up here, this is my intellect. This is my conscious mind, what I was aware of. I would think, I really want to earn more money. I really need to earn more money. Now think about that language. I'm going to get back to that in a little bit. But here, this is your subconscious mind. And this is the part of you that feels. This is your emotional mind. This is your heart. This is where desire, where you've clarified your desires. I mean, they've come from your heart, but you are also intellectually relating with them. You're like, oh, I want this. I'm setting this goal consciously, where I would write in my journal for years and years, consciously. But under here is where your expectation is, how you really feel about what you want. So here I was as a single divorced mom of 3 thinking I really need and want to earn more money. But under the surface, subconsciously, I had very mixed feelings about money in general. And we have a whole day we're going to focus on money. So I'm not going to get too much into this today, but I'm just giving this as an example. I didn't feel really truly capable of earning more money. I was afraid of what earning more money was going to require of me. And I already felt so maxed out. I had mixed feelings about money and people with a lot of money. I had judgments and perceptions that caused me to think that money was not necessarily a good thing. I had judgments about people who drove fancy cars and, had nice houses, and even that word rich, which now I have so many books that have that word rich in the title. But when I first even bought those books, there's a book we study in my mentorship program called The Science of Getting Rich. And when I first read that book, I couldn't stand the title. And if anyone would come through or around when I was reading that book, I would hide it because I didn't want them to see that I was interested in becoming more wealthy. So I had a lot of mixed feelings about money subconsciously. But consciously, I was like, yeah, bring it. But remember what I just told you. Bob said, the part of you that thinks, that knows, is not the part that's in charge of what you create. This is. This part, your subconscious mind, is in charge of your results. And in fact, it is in charge of 95% of your behavior. So look, the rest of this stick person, what's down here, this represents the body. By the way, this is a model of the mind that was created by a chiropractor who was very deep into the healing arts. His name was Dr. Thurman Fleet, somewhere in San Antonio, Texas, I think, in the 1930s. And he created a diagram for his patients to help them understand the relationship between their mind and their bodies. Because he realized no one's ever seen the mind. And that's really difficult for us because we think in pictures. And so he created this diagram, and Bob received it, I think, from his mentor, Leland Val Vanderwall. And then Bob Proctor has, made it part of his Thinking into Results program. And that's how I received it. But look, in order for what's up here to go to here and actually influence our physical reality, our body, our physical experience, it's got to go through here. Dun, da, da. And in here right now, for each and every one of you, in every single area of your life, remember those 4 areas. I have 3, 4 areas I talked about yesterday, though there are, of course, many more. Your relationships, everything you would put under the heading of love, your wealth, everything you would put under the heading of finances and money, your health, and your creative self-expression. Every single area of your life has patterns and ideas and beliefs that we call in this work paradigms that is controlling your results in every single one of those categories. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Because if you don't know how to change these paradigms, your results will never change. And you will become more and more frustrated if you aren't already, because you'll keep doing all sorts of things to try to change them. But without changing the actual cause, it's completely pointless. Like, think about this. I like analogies. Yesterday I gave that one about the toaster oven. I had never used that one before. It just came to me in the shower. But let's see. Okay. I just lost my train of thought. The toaster oven, the stick person. It's coming. Hold on. So I was on a roll and then I just went. I'm back. I want you to think about an old-fashioned movie projector. Now, I know the movies are different today. Everything's all digital and whatever, but most of us, I'm assuming here, know what I'm talking about when I say an old-fashioned movie projector. It has film in it, okay? When you go to a movie and there's an old-fashioned movie projector with film in it playing, there are 3 essential parts, right? There's the light that's shining. There's the film in the projector, and there's what you see on the screen. Now imagine if you went to a movie and you're sitting there and you're like, gosh, this movie is so depressing. I can't sit here through this movie. And instead of leaving the movie, which is probably what you would do, you were like, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change what I see on the screen. I want it to be better. I want these people to have a better experience. I want it to be better. And you went up to the screen and tried to change it. People would think you were insane, right? Because you can't change what you're seeing on the screen by just going up to the screen and touching it. There's nothing there, right? It's a projection, right? This is actually what's happening in your life. And most people, myself included, until I came to this work, are trying to change what's on the screen without changing what's causing it. And that's why you've been so stuck, if you're stuck. And of course, you're actually not stuck, but if you've been feeling stuck and you came here because I told you that there's a reason I'm going to share with you as to why you've been feeling stuck and what you can be doing to change it, that's why. You've been feeling stuck because you've been trying to change what's on the screen without changing what's causing it. The cause is the film, okay? The light is the ever-present eternal light of awareness that is infinite and forever and perfect and pure. That's who you really are. That is your true essence. That's who you were before you came into this body. That's who you are right now, and that's who you'll be when you leave this body. But in the meantime, while we have a body, every single one of us has a film running. And if you're anything like me, your film is full of what Bob would call virus codes. It's kind of like we're actually programmed. And I used to resist that. I'm like, I'm not programmed. I'm free. I'm not programmed. We run on programming. Think about it. Like I ate a meal before I sat down here to teach. I'm not sitting here also consciously digesting my food while I'm talking to you. It's digesting automatically, right? There are automatic processes that are programmed within us so that we can just operate and really be available for the important stuff and let all the non-essential stuff take care of itself. It's really brilliant. But the problem is there are so many of us who have gotten what's the word? Suboptimal programming. And therefore, we're experiencing suboptimal results reflected on the screen. So the film is what we want to change. And the film is running here. And this film, for the purposes of this class, we're going to call paradigms. And basically, what a paradigm is, it's a mental program that has exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And over 95% of your behavior is habitual. That is a pretty staggering statistic. Over 95% of your behavior, and I also would say your thoughts and feelings are included in that, are habitual. They're happening automatically and they're repeating over and over and over again, under the surface, behind the scenes of your life. Meanwhile, you're thinking about your goals, or you're thinking, I want to do this, or you're thinking in a different, about what you want. But until you change that programming, none of what you think about can manifest. So what do we do about it? How do you change it? Well, the good news is you change it in the same way that it was created. And I'm going to share my screen, I think. When I say I think, it's because we'll see how the technology bit goes, but I'm assuming it's just going to go swimmingly. Let's see. I want to share from the current slide. Play from current slide. Okay. Oh, continue. Okay. So this is a really basic diagram of the stick person. And I'm going to show you different diagrams of the stick person so you can get this more and more and more clearly in your own mind. Because the more you get this, the more you're going to be able to diagnose yourself. I have a part of the workbook where I give you just one whole page. It's the stick person blank. And what I want you to do there is, like, on the outside of it, write the results you're currently getting. And then take a look at what you're currently doing, which is with your physical body. What am I actually doing habitually every day? That's, somewhat related to this result. Then go up to, and how do I really feel about this topic in my life? What are some of my beliefs? What are some of my expectations and my true assumptions about this situation, this experience, these results? And what have I been thinking? If you start to shine the light, you'll see that what you're experiencing on the outside is an exact match to what's going on the inside. And that is the law of cause and effect. I used to think that I was thinking positively. And I tried affirmations, but the thing is that the affirmations only work to the extent that they influence what you believe. And I'm going to get into that all today, but I want to give you just the lay of the land. So before I go any further with the stick person, I want to come back to a couple of the universal laws I mentioned because the law of attraction is this law that people talk about all the time. They throw it around, the law of attraction, and it's true. We are magnetic beings, and we are always attracting to ourselves our results. That movie, The Secret, which is where a lot of people first came in contact with Bob Proctor. That's when, I mean, he had been doing this work for, decades prior, but it wasn't until The Secret became like this viral movie that so many more people recognized Bob as this incredible teacher. Bob himself said that there was one problem with that movie, The Secret, that it gave the impression that all you need to do is think about what you want and you will attract it. What's the problem here? Look, this upper part of this circle is the think part. And that is very important. I'm not discounting the importance of the conscious mind. In fact, it's actually the only place we have full operative control. But it's not enough just to think about something. Because the law of attraction is a secondary law. And it's governed by the law of vibration. The law of vibration and law of attraction put together basically state that we attract that which is in an exact vibrational match to us. Now, what does it mean to be a vibrational match? It means you don't attract what you think. You attract what you believe. And your beliefs, this is a very simplistic diagram. I'm going to show you more in a few minutes, but your beliefs are what influence your feelings, your emotions. And your emotions, your habitual, like underlying emotional tone, especially, is the indication of your underlying general vibration. So think about what I said earlier. I would think I wanted to earn more money. Under the surface, I didn't feel okay about that. I didn't feel that that was going to necessarily be a good thing. My paradigm didn't feel that that was safe for me. It's not rational. This part of ourselves is completely illogical. There's no logic involved. And so think about this as a traffic light, but a little bit of a different traffic light. Like for something to manifest, all parts have to be green. Well, yeah, but especially this one. So wait, there's another way for me to put that. It's not that all parts have to be green. It's that in order for what you want up here to manifest, it's got to be completely green and congruent in these other parts. So like I had a green light for money here, but I had a yellow light for money here, or maybe a red light. So in my physical experience, I had like a mixed bag, a yellow, red light experience. Whatever this color of light is what you experience. Let's talk about relationships for a minute. My programming around relationships, because look, all right, I'm going to show you one thing. This is what we look like as infants, okay? We have no intellect. We are pure subconscious sponges. And everything, and I mean everything, that's going on around you until you're about age 8 goes right in and goes in as I am. I am. The language of the subconscious is I am. So for me, I'll just keep it personal because I think personal examples are the most powerful. Regarding relationships, I grew up in a family where there was a lot of conflict in the relationships between my parents and then between my mother and my stepfather. So what was going in so everything that goes in when you're that age goes in as how it is. You don't have the ability to say rationally, intellectually, this is how it is for these people, but I know this isn't how it is for everybody. Because that's logic, that's reasoning, and that's part of the conscious mind. We don't have that as kids. So we don't have the ability to say, this isn't normal. Actually, perfect harmony and order is what's normal in the universe. And these people have just temporarily forgotten that and are having some issues, but I don't need to take that on. We don't do that, unfortunately or fortunately. I mean, it is the way it is, so it must be for a reason, and I actually believe that it is. But so for myself, I had all this programming going in around the topic of relationships. They're difficult. They're full of conflict. They don't last. There was, divorce in my family. And so as when I grew up, I wanted to be in a like everyone, wants who doesn't want love that is safe and supportive and lasting and harmonious. It's our nature as humans to want that because that's really part of the essence of who we are. I wanted all that. And consciously, I would think, I really want to be in that kind of relationship. But my programming was not for that. It's like we're like these divine robots. And if we could just have it flash on the screen and say, I'm sorry, I am not programmed for that, it would be a lot easier. But I wasn't even aware that I wasn't programmed for it. I didn't even know what programming was. I didn't know what a paradigm was. All I knew is that what I was experiencing in my relationships was so far from what I really wanted. And I didn't understand that it was my paradigm that was controlling all the results in my relationships. So this paradigm business is a big deal. It's a big deal. So here we go. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our habitual and almost all our behavior is habitual. So in my relationships, I would end up acting in a way that caused my relationships to be problematic. And I'm not saying it was a one-way street. A relationship is definitely a dynamic and there are two people involved, but I'm taking responsibility of the cause within me. I would behave in a certain way that would actually drive that person away. Because I believed deep down that relationships don't last. And then I would wonder, why did my husband leave me? Poor me. I'm a victim. Well, no, I wasn't. I was just being run by programming that caused that. And was that a difficult experience? Yes. But did I gain something incredibly valuable from it? Absolutely. But that's what a paradigm is. Now, here's another, I want to give you a couple diagrams of the stick person so you understand. So this is the basic gist of it. In every single moment, now remember what I said yesterday, I think I said this anyway, there truly is no past and there truly is no future. Now here I am talking about something that happened to me, yes. But when it happened, it was in the now. And when I'm thinking about it, I'm in the now. There is really only one eternal now. This and the construct of time is a human construct. It's one eternal now. Everything that you have experienced, are experiencing, and will experience is always happening now. And right now, in this moment, there is energy It's called on this diagram thought energy, but there is energy that is moving through you. Remember I said that vertical plane? It's coming through you, and it is you. And you have thoughts, which become ideas. And the thoughts you are personally having cause you to feel a certain way. So your thought itself is a vibration. And you can send that vibration to all far corners of the world and the universe in a split fraction of a second. And you are. And not only that, we're surrounded. You see, it says thought energy is. It's not really showing it properly in this diagram. It's like, oh, is it just streaming in through your head? No. We're surrounded by this substance that Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich calls thinking stuff. For want of a better word, thinking stuff. But that's, science has also called it ether. There's a substance, there is a field. Quantum physics calls it the field that we're surrounded by, that we are part of. And it's always, we're in interaction with it. And it's taking the impression of our thought. Think of it as this like malleable substance. And we're having a thought. But it's only when the thought becomes an emotion and we send it out as a vibration that we're affecting that thinking stuff, and it forms itself. I know this might sound far out to some of you, but just stay with me. It forms itself into the form that is the exact match to the idea you have now accepted emotionally. And then we have all these things that appear, and you're like, where did that come from? Why did that happen? Why is this happening to me? Well, you created it, but you weren't even aware that you did. That hiccup on YouTube yesterday, I created that. And I'm now very aware of when I did it. So your idea causes an emotion, and there might still be a little hiccup happening on YouTube, but that's okay. I'm not sure. I'm not even checking today. We'll see if this recorded. We'll see if it's streaming, and bless it if it is, and bless it if it isn't. I'm getting better and better every day. So your ideas cause you to feel a certain way. And that emotion, it gets, as a vibration, gets expressed through your field, your energetic field, impacting the thinking stuff around you, and is causing a feedback experience and a reflection. That's what causes the images on the movie screen. And that, due to law of cause and effect, that gets reflected back to you as your results. So your vibration is expressed through action. Your action causes a reaction in the field, which alters your conditions, circumstances, and environment, creating what's in the middle of these two arrows, your results. So think about this very carefully when it comes to what you wrote in the workbook about what you want. Or what, if you haven't written in the workbook, do not worry, but what even brought you to this class to begin with. There's something you're really wanting. There are things that you really want to change in your life. Think about this as okay, well, what do I need to think then? And feel and express in order to have my results actually change. And that's what I teach in my 6-month mentorship program. And I'm attempting to teach it to the best I can to you, the best I can over in this 5-day period. But I will say that I can't give it all to you. I can just give you the best of me and the best I can possibly give you. But it is really understanding this and learning how to apply it to your exact moment in life is what really changes your results. But let's take another look. Oh, well, before I switch slides, I want to say, so this law of vibration really shines a light then onto the law of attraction and gives you a better understanding of how to attract what you really want. Because you don't just attract what you think, you attract what you think that actually is affecting your emotions. And that's a big difference because you can think something. You can think, I am successful. Let's just say that's an affirmation. But that I am successful affirmation is not reaching you emotionally. You're just feeling like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm actually a failure. And that affirmation is making me feel more like a failure because I know it's a lie. That's a, a problem because you don't attract what you think. You don't attract, I am successful. You attract what you feel, which is, I feel like a failure. So the whole name of the game is here, how do we develop an actually like productive relationship between what we're thinking and what we're feeling? And I'm going to show you a little bit of it here. Okay. And this gives you some understanding of how to proceed. And don't worry, we're gonna really get into this. Like tomorrow's class is all about self-image. And self-image is a huge part of your paradigm. So what I'm introducing today, we're going to apply tomorrow when it comes to taking a look at who we feel ourselves to be, this image we're carrying of ourselves, and how to upgrade it so it matches our goals. So just take it all in today as information, take it into your field, do the workbook exercises, and think about it all like for your own life. And just trust that tomorrow and the next few days are going to build on what I'm sharing with you today, because this is big. I almost told everyone, look, I need 2 hours for this today, but I didn't because I advertised this as a 1 hour a day class and we're almost time up. But I might go a teeny bit over, but I'm going to stick primarily to the time frame. But look at this for a second because this is going to really, if you start to take in a little bit of what I'm sharing with you in this slide, and excuse the typos because I got this slide off of the internet and there were a couple typos I couldn't change or didn't know how to change. Now I think I would know how to change them in Canva, but I don't think that's how you spell repetition, but it doesn't matter. Remember how I said earlier, like the way to change the paradigm is the same way it was built? Well, how was it built? You were that little baby stick person who didn't have any intellect, and everything that you were experiencing, especially everything that was repeating over and over again, people were saying the same things, people were doing the same thing over and over again. You were experiencing this repetition of the same thing. That's how you learned your language. That's how you learned your name. That's how you learned to eat your food in a certain way. That's how you learned to tie your shoes. It wasn't just like, oh, one time you got it. If someone called you Michelle just once, would you know as a baby that that was your name? No. The only reason you learned that that was your name is because your parents just kept saying that over and over again and looking at you and applying it to you. And then it was like you developed this acceptance of, I'm Michelle. I am. I am Sarah. But it was repeated. And that is the same way that all your other paradigms were formed. That was how my challenging relationship paradigms were formed. It wasn't like, oh, they just had a fight one day, but the rest of the time it was hunky dory. No, there was like repeated conflict over and over and over again. It became my normal. Same with finances. Your parents say things over and over again. Maybe they say, well, money doesn't grow on trees, or, you know, you're not going to earn any money doing that, or money's really hard to, it was not even necessarily what they said. Maybe you would see your parent coming home totally exhausted, working so hard just to make just a little bit of money. And you would just assume that's how you earn money. I got to work my ass off. I've got to work long hours, and I don't even really get a whole lot. Other people's parents worked maybe not as much, but they had a higher paying job and they were able to take all these vacations. And that's what you became accustomed to as your paradigm. So it's all programming, but it was repetition, repetition, repetition. And it all has a certain vibe to it, a certain tone, a feeling tone, or even think about it musically, like it would have a certain ring tone, vibration to the whole paradigm, to the whole money thing, to the whole relationship thing. It has a certain energy. And that's how the paradigm was created. So that's the same way it's changed. But now it's through constant repetition of a new idea that's influencing you emotionally. combined with certain very specific behaviors you are now selecting that go along with that. Because that's the other thing. You didn't just hear these things and take them in, you also started acting in a certain way because a paradigm is a belief and a habit woven together. So you were receiving all these ideas that became your beliefs. And a belief is just an idea that's been repeated so much you've accepted it as true. And you can change your beliefs. You can actually decide right here and now, like, oh my gosh, I have this belief and I don't want it anymore. You can actually make a decision. I don't believe that anymore. It doesn't have to take all this time. It can happen in an instant. Or if you have a really strong part of your intellect that's really attached to that belief, it might take the repetition. And for most people, it does. But it can also happen in an instant. Bob says there's two ways to change a paradigm. One is through constant spaced repetition of the new idea combined with behavior changes that influence you emotionally, or bang, an emotional impact, and you're never the same afterwards. And he often says, well, an emotional impact is typically negative, like some sort of thing that's happened in life, like, a disaster. He gives 9/11 as an example, but it doesn't have to be. I've learned actually recently, you can create your own emotional impact through a really strong statement and change your paradigm really quickly. But the tried and true, quote unquote, more guaranteed and safe road, constant space repetition. That's what we primarily work with. And I also have been working more and more with like emotional impact. I'm done with this. But you've got to there's nuances there that I'll get into tomorrow when it comes to self-image. Then you have to embody it then. You can't say I believe this and then go through your life acting like you don't. Like if you are like saying, I am done believing that money is scarce, but then you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh gosh, how am I going to pay for that? Obviously, you have not embodied that belief. You need the repetition. So we're going to get into that tomorrow, big time. But just look at this slide because there's some gold nuggets in it, and then we'll wrap up for the day. So look at your conscious mind, your intellect. We have these senses, okay? And they're picking up all this information, and most people are just reacting to what their senses are telling them. And that is a problem because if you just keep reacting to your circumstances, you're going to keep recreating. Remember, the cause is in you. If you keep reacting to your circumstances, you are not changing the film. So you have to develop these other mental muscles, and those are our blessed higher mental faculties. This is how you really can change the fabric of your consciousness through these higher mental faculties. And we'll get into this over the next couple of days, but just briefly, you have imagination. Imagination, I believe it was Neville Goddard said, is the gateway to reality. There's nothing in their world that has not come from an idea in someone's imagination. Nothing. Try to find something, you won't be able to find it. We have the will. We have perception. We have intuition. We have reason and we have memory. These are our higher mental faculties. And this is where we learn to gain control over what we're thinking and start to say, I don't care what the outside is showing me. I know that everything I'm experiencing outside of me is a result of all my past thinking and feeling that was going on unconsciously. And now I'm taking charge of it with my higher mental faculties. So you develop the ability to think a new thought. And get this, when you repeat it and you impress it upon the subconscious mind in a very particular way, guess what? Look what it says about the subconscious mind over here. It must accept all information or thoughts that are impressed upon it through repetition or emotion. It must accept. So that means that your past has no precedent here. You could have been struggling your whole life and develop the ability to communicate a thriving idea to your subconscious, and it will accept it and it'll produce it. You have changed the film when you change what's running in your subconscious mind, and then you change your results. So I don't want to go too far over time today. So I want to leave it at that. But I think I will share that particular. I did not put that particular diagram in the workbook, and now I wish I had. So I will share it at least in the WhatsApp group. I think all of you are in the WhatsApp group. There's a lot of people who aren't, but that's okay. And maybe I'll share it in an email because that diagram, it's really important to study it, and you start to get this for if you're anything like me, the more you study it, you're like, wait a minute, if my subconscious is controlling my conditions and my subconscious must accept what I give to it, if I learn how to give it to it effectively, then I can give anything I want to it. And that opens the door to freedom for you. That opens the door to freedom for you. We are living in an infinite universe. You can give your subconscious mind any idea and it will produce it for you if you give it to it in the proper way. And that's what we'll get into more specifically tomorrow with self-image. So does anyone here in Zoom have any questions before we wrap up? It's only 1:06. I'm proud of myself for not going too far over, but I would take a few questions if anyone has them. And if I'll just wait a moment and see, and if not, I will wrap up. Thank you, Casey. I'm glad you've received it. Is it new information to you? You said wonderful information. Is it new? Curious. Let's see. Maybe you're typing. Maybe you're not. Um, experience, but need to go deeper with it, and this helps. Yes. Good. 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 I'm so happy that it helps. And we're going to go deeper tomorrow. So just, yeah, do your best to that now do day 2 of the workbook. Or if you haven't yet done day 1, do day 1 and see if you get to day 2. Do your best. I know everyone's busy, but the more you work with this as we're doing it, the more you're going to benefit, and you might become aware you have certain questions that I can answer because I'm going to have a Q&A session on Friday. I might have one tomorrow as well if anyone needs help with their goals. I'm still stay tuned on that. But just know that the rest of the days in the workbook are much shorter than the first day, but it will help you shine a light on what's going on for you as this stick person. Every single one of us is this. And it also helps you understand other people in your life because it's like, why are they acting that way? Well, gosh, if they're acting that way, they must be believing something that's causing them to act that way. And that's actually given me a lot of ability to work with my children in a really productive and life enhancing way. Because I used to just be like, oh my God, why are they acting this way? And I would just resist their behavior and fight with it. And I was like, well, there's something else going on under the surface. And when you start to understand people, it gives you an ability to really work with them as opposed to just, fighting with them. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Everyone who's here with me live, everyone who's on YouTube, I hope it was streaming. We'll see. And everyone who's watching the recording, I'm so grateful. Really appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Blessings to you all. Bye bye.